KBSC Apache Junction and K241BQ Fort McDowell.
Phoenix's funny stations.
It's a comedy calamity with the Wild Jokers starting right now. So buckle up and enjoy the ride.
And now, broadcasting live, high atop the Double Wide Tower, it's time for Wild Jokers. A comedy calamity, bringing you interviews with local and national comedians. Plus, we keep the pulse on the local comedy scene with who, what, when, and where. Now, without further ado, your hosts of Wild Jokers, Len and Brad.
And good morning, and welcome to Wild Jokers Radio. I'm Len, he's Brad. Ed pushing buttons over there and hanging out live in the palatial Double Wide Studios. Gentlemen, good morning to you.
Morning, everybody. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm all jacked up about this week's show. I mean, it's actually kind of leftovers from last week at Vito's, by the way. We're going to give a shout-out to Vito's in Mesa.
Oh, my God.
The Comedy Cellar. Pretty much a sellout.
Out of control.
We did good.
Great crowd, too. Unbelievable crowd.
I was busy at Comic-Con getting real interviews.
Right.
Oh.
No, what he's trying
Seriously?
to say, what he was saying is he was nerding out instead of coming with us.
Yeah, it's kind of funny that you mentioned that because my family was in town and they were staying downtown in the same hotel.
At the Hyatt?
They had the Hyatt. And they had
that must have been fun.
They had no clue what was going on either.
That's
what was
really
even better.
funny.
That's
really funny.
It was pretty fantastic.
That would be I would be upset if I didn't know. You know, the hotel didn't tell me.
Here's the thing. My nephew is totally into all that. He's a comic book guy.
Oh, he
and
must
all
have been
stuff.
going nuts.
That was the highlight of the trip.
Oh,
They went up to
to
the White Mountains to go on a nice camping, horseback riding, fishing, things that Uncle Len would love to do and go out there and into the backcountry. No. It was comic books and dressing up and stuff like that. That was the highlight of the trip. So I'm feeling it. I'm feeling my age on that one. I really am.
You're feeling it.
I'm feeling it. But Vito's was a success.
It was a home run.
Saturday night again, actually, depending if you're listening live here on the Double Wide Network. Saturday night, if you're listening on 24/7 Comedy. Tonight, I know we're confusing the heck out of everybody by having two different times.
Saturday the 14th.
Yes, correct.
Saturday the 14th.
Thank you for clarifying.
Lucky Saturday the 14th.
Yeah, it's kind of trippy today.
You
Friday
think?
the 13th with a full moon.
Snuck up on us, huh?
Won't happen again until 2049.
And then I'll be 74 years old.
And I'll be 36.
Sure you were there, buddy.
Wow.
Sure. But we have a huge show. This is a
You look
monster
horrible
show.
for your age, Ed.
Thank you. Thank you.
He's been training. Come on, stop it.
Well, he's got to be about, what, 12? So, I mean, he looks like he's 40.
Well, James Best, who is known as Roscoe.
Roscoe
Coltrane. That's
in
right.
the Dukes of Hazzard will be joining us here on segment number 2 here on Wild Jokers Radio. We're very, very excited about this.
Which is ironic because who did I just interview at Comic-Con?
Yeah, I mean...
Daisy Duke.
Yeah,
Get out of
Daisy,
here.
the original.
Look at her. Look at him. He's like, doesn't even believe me. Yes, I interviewed Catherine Bach.
She still looks good from what I've heard, too.
She looks pretty good, yeah.
Yeah.
The
Because she's
question-
got to be in her 60s now, right?
She is.
Yeah.
The big question I have for James Best is this. What was his thought on the remake film? You know, his friend...
I don't think any of them liked it.
But here's the funny thing about it. He's dear friends with Burt Reynolds, who was in the film.
Yes.
There's a weird synergy to that. And that has been a question I'm longing to ask him in segment number 2 here on Wild Jokers Radio.
Well, I think it has to do a lot with, you know, the Johnny Knoxville Dukes of Hazzard was... especially the unedited version was basically a Johnny Knoxville film.
Right. And well, here's the thing. Starsky and Hutch, Dukes of Hazzard, all these remakes. I'm sorry. They're I'll watch them and go, ha, ha, ha. But they're just really making fun of it. It's even with the Brady Bunch. I just never got into it.
I watched the new RoboCop the other day.
How was it?
I didn't care for it.
Yeah.
Although I will say the new Footloose was actually pretty good.
Oh, come on.
It was pretty good. Did you see it?
No.
Well, then don't complain.
So you're probably waiting for the new Dirty Dancing to come out, too.
Are they doing Dirty Dancing?
Oh, God.
No,
Did you
actually,
just get excited about that?
No, I protest these. I protested
can't stand
Red
that.
Dawn.
Yeah.
I protested.
Oh,
What's
Red
wrong
Dawn.
with Red Dawn?
Oh, and that was like the new Karate
That was
Kid.
incredible.
That's another one.
The new one?
Oh, no, I didn't see the new one.
That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah, okay. Well, the new Karate
try
Kid
to keep
sucked,
up.
too. It's the same thing.
Well, yeah, you can't. Wolverines is not the same. I mean, that original cast. Who's thinking about this? I mean,
But they didn't say.
stupidity
I
to me in
understand it
some
wasn't,
ways.
but it wasn't Wolverines in the new Red Dawn, though. Someone told me they didn't even use Wolverines; they used something else. Is that true?
No, they did, but it wasn't as prevalent.
Okay,
as
maybe
it
that's
was.
what it was because
But
they made such a big deal about it in the first one. Right, exactly.
But you're not battling the same force either. That's
No.
another thing. It's a totally different storyline. Why don't you
Yeah.
call it a different movie?
Yeah.
You know, you rip it off partially and just call it something else. I'm better with that than either doing a bad job and doing a remake or
Yeah,
playing
call
off
it like
a
Red
different plot.
Dusk instead of Red Dawn or something.
Red pre-dawn.
Yeah, right.
I like that. So we're going to be definitely catching up with him, and also just the popularity of Dukes of Hazzard, how long it's gone on, guys.
yeah.
I mean, as sitting here in the studio,
You can still catch it on repeats even now.
on CMT at 10 a.m. every Monday through
There
Friday.
you go. Not that you would know.
I know.
Right.
Believe me, I know. I brought my General Lee. I got my childhood.
I know. I was just playing with it. I was doing
got
wheelies
this-
a minute ago.
I actually picked this bad boy up probably when I was 4 or 5 years old. And you know what's kind of cool? I had the action figure somewhere in a box.
Oh, so you
but
can put them
sit-
in there.
Sit right
so
in there.
Bo and Luke can chill out on the top
Yeah,
like
but the
that.
Confederate flag's kind of peeling.
Did they
there
have
a
like the
little
bow and arrow? I mean, the crossbow and everything?
bit. Well, they
the
didn't,
compound bows,
No,
I mean?
the
They had the
little
compound
figurines
bows.
were about yay big, bud.
They didn't have the compound bows?
And I
though?
want to see, because Cass Grand Jewelry and Pawn has just actually joined us in the Double Wide Studios here. Get an appraisal on something like this, and I have something else in my bag of tricks right there.
Oh, God.
And besides, the lovely Michelle's here with actually 2 antiques that we're going to have.
Did you see the look
appraised.
on Robin's face?
She's like, oh, great.
Oh,
I didn't want it
crap.
to
It's
work
a piece
already.
of plastic.
Yeah,
What do you
right, dude. It's worth $11.95.
You know what's interesting is at Comic-Con, the Dukes was a big presence this year for some reason at Comic-Con, and they had the actual little Ertel, remember
Right,
Ertel?
the original ones,
the little
metal ones,
die-cast
die-cast,
ones.
yeah.
They wanted $80 a pop for them.
Get out of here. Those were like $1.
I know.
Maybe
Well,
50 cents.
Maybe you'll know this because in my first, second, and third grade years of school, I had a Dukes of Hazzard lunchbox with matching
I
thermos.
think I had one of those, too.
Yeah, how much? I think that would probably go for a
If
pretty
it was
good.
in decent shape,
Yeah, I
probably
heard
would.
old
But
lunchboxes are worth a fortune.
I had one, and you know what? The pawn shop people are going to perk up when I say this. I had.
You mean Casa Grand Jewelry and Pawn?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
of course.
those
I
guys.
had
Plug.
nice plug.
Yeah, plug.
I had an actual Revenge of the Jedi lunchbox.
Get out of here.
I did.
I had a Star Wars original.
And look at it. See, she like that's worth some bucks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
But did the magic thermos come with it?
Yes.
Did you have that too?
Yes, I did.
See, that's the important part. You need to have both
Yeah, the
pieces
thermos
of
is the one that always gets lost.
Well, yeah, because
Yeah.
I had a lot of soup growing up, so
Oh,
I
I'm
had to
sure.
have that thermos.
Right,
I
of
always
course.
had milk, and it never stayed good. You know, you go to.
See, they would provide. I went to a Southern Baptist school.
Yeah.
They provided milk
I don't
for
know.
some reason.
Every
I don't-
school I went to always provided milk. I don't know where Ed came from, but.
Was it whole? Or was
you
it
grew up
2%,
here,
or-
didn't you?
I
Ed?
grew up here. No,
Oh,
it
well,
was
that
my,
explains
it.
it.
was my grandmother going, "Here, have some milk. Milk does a body good."
Yeah, right.
Really? yeah. I never was big on the milk thing. I was more an orange juice guy.
Yeah. That's
Southern
why you're in
California
shape
citrus.
and I'm fat.
Who would think though? If everybody said milk was so healthy, but
I
you
don't know.
think
I like
about it,
chocolate
really it's
milk
not.
myself. A little quick in your chocolate, in your milk. Make a little chocolate milk. That's what it's all about.
Ever
Really?
had strawberry quick?
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good
that's all
actually.
right. That's all right. That's pretty
It's
good.
pretty good, especially
That's
put a
pretty
little too much strawberry mix in it. For some reason, when you overdo it, it's pretty even better.
I was going to say only the gay people drink that, but
Yeah.
since you guys perked up,
Yeah.
all right.
Oh, see how he is? See how he is? Yeah.
No, vanilla.
He's just jealous.
No,
that's
I'm
all.
going off the pure milk. Go to the vanilla soy milk with a little vodka.
Ugh,
Vanilla
soy
vodka.
milk? That shouldn't even be called milk.
Oh yeah, you mix a little
If it
ice
doesn't
cubes
come
with
from
it.
a cow, it's not milk. I don't care what anybody says.
It's engineered nutrition.
I mean, even coconut milk. That doesn't make any
You know,
sense.
That's exactly. I'm going to agree with Brad on that one. Lexi, Dave Pratt's partner on Dave Pratt Live, she got me to drink coconut milk. Now it was good, but I had the
It
same
is
argument.
good, but
I
it's
said,
not
but
milk.
It's not milk.
No.
This is another.
It's better for
concoction.
you than milk, a lot of people would argue.
I said,
but-
if it's not milk.
Actually, it's kind of funny that you say that it is because I ran into actually at Whole Foods here in Scottsdale. I'm in North Scottsdale.
Right.
Steven Seagal is a big advocate of that. And he's living here. He's working with Joe Arpaio in the MCSO.
Right, yeah, I saw. They had
I
him
watched
on
the show
TV.
last
Yeah, I
night,
saw it.
Lawman.
I've
I
seen
mean-
it. It's so silly.
I mean, people are getting arrested and asking for autographs.
Yeah,
It's
it's
pretty
funny
silly.
because they chase after the guys. They throw him in the car and meet him up with the people that are
I mean,
running.
how would you like it if all of a sudden Steven Seagal came knocking at your door? I think that would be kind of humorous.
It would be hilarious. I would think I'm getting punked or something.
I would start screaming, Jean-Claude Van Damme's better than you, bozo.
As you get your butt kicked.
Then obviously, yeah, I'm like, goodbye for Glenn. But that is kind of a funny little thing.
That's
but
hilarious,
he's a
actually.
coconut guy.
That explains a lot.
Take out the coca, and you're right.
Well,
Yeah, right?
he's a nut.
He's definitely a little different.
But it's very popular is where I'm going with it.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, it's really popular
very-
now. It's a big thing
It's the
now.
fad in Hollywood.
It's getting
the
yeah. No,
celebrity-
kale is the fad in Hollywood.
What is kale?
What is kale?
Kale
What is
is
kale?
like a kind of lettuce, but it's not lettuce.
What is
Okay,
it?
you just
It's
lost
a
us.
vegetable like that. It looks kind of like lettuce, but it's not actually lettuce. Haven't you ever seen they feed it to a lot of lizards and stuff? It looks like the outside
I
piece
sell
of the lettuce,
hay,
the hard,
not
thicker
lettuce,
piece.
okay?
I'm
That's what I
just
do on the
telling
side.
you. You guys just aren't in touch because that's it's the latest thing.
Well, let us talk about it.
Let us talk.
Let us talk. Yeah. So, no, do you put anything on it? Is it like when you go to In-N-Out Burger
No,
where they
it's
do
like
animal
I
style?
don't know.
or-
They use kale and everything. They don't use lettuce anymore. They use kale and everything.
We're losing control.
I don't know.
I didn't make it up. It's just crazy cuckoos in
See
LA.
the
What do you
track
want?
over there? Yeah, we're way off of it.
Yeah. Why don't we go to our first break? On the other side, we're going to be catching up with Roscoe himself, Mr. James Best from the Dukes of Hazzard. It's coming up next. I'm too excited. You know, he worked with Burt Reynolds. You just got to love that. And we'll be plugging away on that. I can't see that far.
Yeah, we got tickets to give away. We'll talk about it when we come back.
Okay, yeah. Tickets on the other side. We're going to be giving you tickets if you keep hanging out. Lock it in with the Wild Jokers. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Wild Jokers on 24/7 Comedy for Phoenix, 1260 AM, 96.1 FM.
You're listening to the Double Wide Network, where you can host your own radio show. If you're looking for a way to get out your message, welcome to the future. Dave Pratt's Double Wide Network offers you the opportunity to use our state-of-the-art studio to create your very own radio show. Our experienced and helpful production staff will help you every step of the way. Our free mobile app allows your listeners to take your show with them and play it live or on demand. Even if you're not in Arizona, we've got you covered with Skype technology, so you can broadcast from anywhere in the world. Whether you're in it to grow your business, make a statement, deliver a message, or just have fun hosting your own show, the Double Wide Network can make it happen. The Double Wide Network always has your show ready to go. For more information, just visit.
It's that time of year again where all the creepy critters are coming out. Hey, it's Len from the Wild Jokers. And this past week, I've had swarms of bees, scorpions, and a rattlesnake. And you know who I call? I call Brian over at Nuisance Pest Management. That's Nusense, Nuisance Pest Management. If you have swarms of bees, scorpions, ants, termites, snakes, you name it, they take care of it. 480-447-8775. NuisancePest.com. Call Brian. 480-447-8775. It's Len from the Wild Jokers, and you know my battle cry is all about the small business person. And that's why I endorse Casa Grande Jewelry and Pawn. Some of the finest jewelry you ever want to find. If you need an engagement ring, wedding band, watches, necklaces, firearms, ammunition, power tools, you name it, they got it at Casa Grande Jewelry and Pawn. 1326 North Pinal Avenue in the heart of Casa Grande, or call 520-836-7774. Once again, that's 520-836-7774.
Autobahn Mortgage, 602-980-LOAN. That's 602-980-5626. Call Autobahn Mortgage for all your commercial and residential mortgage needs. We are friendly, fast, and efficient. 602-980-LOAN. You can also see us on the internet, www.autobahnmortgage.com. Call us today, 602-980-LOAN. 602-980-5626.
I remember the moment.
I'll never forget that moment.
As long as I live.
As long as I live.
Several of us were working to rescue a family.
The house collapsed on top of the cellar door and trapped them.
We had to use Humvees and heavy machinery to move massive trees and debris.
We got them out.
We helped a lot of people out.
It felt good to know I could really make a difference.
Because I'm a citizen soldier in the National Guard.
Be there the moment your community needs you. Learn more at NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Arizona National Guard. Aired by the Arizona
Broadcasters Association and this station.
I'll never forget that moment.
As long as I live.
As long as I live.
My first call-up ever as a member of the National Guard.
When we got to the armory, they briefed us on the wildfires. They were getting dangerously close to homes.
Helicopters were going out to drop water on the fires.
Guys in the unit were preparing for firefighting with local fire crews.
At that moment, I got my first taste of just how important the Guard is to my community.
See how the Guard can be an important part of your life at NationalGuard.com.
Sponsored by the Arizona National Guard. Aired by the Arizona Broadcasters Association and this station.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Wild Jokers on 24/7 Comedy for Phoenix, 1260 AM, 96.1 FM.
And welcome back to Wild Jokers Radio, here live at the Double Wide Studio in beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona. I'm Len. He's Brad. Ed working the phones. We're working on catching up with actor James Best, who was known for being Roscoe in the Dukes of Hazzard. Besides 600 plus motion pictures and TV shows he appeared in.
And a million other things. I mean, it's unbelievable what this guy's
What you've discovered so much. Besides, he's good friends with Burt Reynolds, appeared in 3 films with him. He's a writer, director, artist. He's a Renaissance guy.
I mean, this is a guy that was friends with Alfred Hitchcock, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
I mean, Clint Eastwood, like these are his bros. Lee Marvin. Can you imagine hanging out with Lee Marvin? Can you imagine what that
He's
would
done
be
a
like?
little bit of it all. And that's the thing, spanning career from post-World War II.
Yeah, right. Well, he was in World War II.
Yeah. I'm saying when he came back, I'm not
Right.
talking about his fight. I'm talking about his motion picture career. I mean, you think how long ago that was. And that's one thing. In Hollywood and show business, to keep a career going on that long and to span that many
unbelievable.
decades, that's hard to do.
It's amazing, actually.
But he would actually, whether it be in front of the camera or behind the camera, he always was so versatile. That's what he did. But who do you think was more funny in The Dukes of Hazzard than him?
Nobody.
James Best was the
He made the
humor.
show. Yeah.
His dialogue with Boss Hogg.
Oh, he was the comic
everything.
relief in that show.
Yeah,
The
and
rest of it
that's-
was action. He was the comedy.
Well, Luke and Bo were more the sliding over the hood and
right, that's the thing
blowing
about
stuff
the
up.
action.
And,
They're about the pizzazz. He was more
yeah,
about the
and the sizzle and everything.
right,
and
yeah.
all the ladies like what was it, Bo?
Right.
Luke never got any love because he was a brunette. What's wrong with the brunette
I
factor?
don't know.
What's all these little girls liking blondes for? Where you both got brunette hair?
I don't know. Couldn't tell you. Maybe that explains some things.
Yeah, so I don't know. So we're still working on that. But
Yeah.
what was your favorite piece of work that he did? Was it the Dukes?
Of course.
Okay. I mean, every little
I
kid
watched
loved
the
the
Dukes
Dukes of Hazzard.
religiously as a kid.
All right, we have him locked in. James Best, who is known actually best, I guess, best for being Roscoe on the Dukes of Hazzard. James, how are you this morning?
Very good, thank you.
Oh, well, it's just certainly a treat here at the Double Wide Studios. We actually have a little mini General Lee here in studio with us. And the theme to the Dukes of Hazzard, Mr. Waylon Jennings in the background. So how are you doing today? You're traveling all over the great United States, touring and still promoting the Dukes of Hazzard. What do you got going?
Well, I do my one-man show. What I do is we've taken clips from different movies that I've made during my career, and they throw it up on the screen, and then I tell the stories that were behind the scenes, and the people that I talked to, and some of the celebrities that I talk about the celebrities that I've worked with and had the honor to work with.
You know, with as many movies and things that you've been involved with, how can you possibly remember all of those things? That's like amazing to me.
Decade after decade.
I mean, your credentials are insanely impressive, and I don't know, how do you remember all that stuff?
Well, actually, it's not difficult. I mean, it's of course. I'm very fortunate that I have a retentive powers of that particular subject. I mean, my career. I have trouble remembering what I had for breakfast.
Me too.
but
that's why I asked you.
Well, I'll be 88 in July, so the hearing is not as good as it used to be.
Well, let me ask you, going back to the Dukes of Hazzard, I want to span your whole career because just looking at your biography, so many actually motion pictures, I mean, your relationship with Burt Reynolds and a lot of those films, I mean, a big fan of that aspect of your career, your Westerns going back. I know you're an artist as well. But the impact of the Dukes of Hazzard obviously is huge. Now, the first season, there was a little trouble from what I understand, and I've done a lot of history and reading books and whatnot. I want you to clear this up in my mind. There was a lot of trouble for the Dukes of Hazzard to get on the air. A lot of people in Los Angeles, from what I understand, did not really want to have kind of a country-type, good-feeling type show on CBS at that period of time. What was the impact of Waylon Jennings on this?
I'm not sure. But, you know, see, there's such snobs in L.A.
Well put.
Wow.
You know, really, they really are. I mean, the people that run L.A. now, I don't know what they're doing with all this reality stuff and everything. They still do not know the power of the Dukes of Hazzard. Dukes of Hazzard had everything for anybody. It had the grandfather figure. It had a beautiful girl, you know, Kathy, that'd stop your heart in a minute with her in her shorts. And you had,
yeah.
And you had Boss Hogg and Roscoe, the two bumbling idiots, and then the grandfather figure, the two very handsome boys, and a magic car can jump a canyon. And without bending a fender.
Quite amazing.
Amazing.
Or, you know, so we had a little bit. We had a little thing for everybody. Well, Hollywood, they didn't really know they had this magic in the bottle. Some executive, when we were doing the Dukes of Hazzard, they didn't do 5 down in Georgia, and then he went to Europe and he said, you know, this Dukes of Hazzard will never get past the first commercial. Well, now that was the intelligence behind it, you know. And even today, you know, what they were making so much money they didn't know what to do with it, and so they shoot. Then they decide, well, okay, since the old cast is gone, we'll make a movie and call it Dukes of Hazzard. When they made that piece of garbage.
See, that was going to be my follow-up question.
Well, now
for
we know
you,
how you
actually.
feel about that.
I wanted to know, because you do have a friendship with Burt Reynolds. I know he was in that film. On your thoughts on that new motion picture, newer. It was a really disappointment to me, to be honest with you.
Well, here's the thing. I don't mind. They should have called it Jackass 3 or something.
There you go.
They put the dope thing in, and it had nothing whatsoever to do with the family values that Dukes of Hazzard was so successful for, and still is after 35 years. We're still on they're still in Europe and all these different places, and the fan base is fantastic. I mean, I go on Facebook sometimes, and I'll put a little clip in there about the Dukes of Hazzard and get 150,000 hits.
Oh, my God.
Wow.
And so, it's just as, because now we're in 3 generations. Well, Hollywood still has not figured, those people that so-called run Hollywood do not know that the American public want a clean, fun family show that they're not embarrassed to watch or are allowed to have their children watch.
Jimmy, on that note, with talking about the family fun, I heard a rumor that you came up with the character of Roscoe of how you used to talk to your baby daughter. Is that true?
Oh, yeah, it's true.
That's great.
Well, I had such a regard, a wonderful regard for the police people, because they put their life on the line every day or every night, and people just really don't appreciate that, And when I was called over there, my agent called and said, "You want to go over and see about a series? They intend to do a series called Dukes of Hazzard." I said, "I don't want to do a gang thing." And they said, "No, this is a good old boy thing, and they're going to shoot the whole series down in Conyers, Georgia." Well, I had produced a bit of associate producer on Gator.
Right. Which is a great film. I mean, Burt Reynolds, Jerry Reed, that's a great cast.
Yeah, and Burt and I, we did the rewrites on it and everything, and had a ball doing it. I said, "Well, I love that place down there. Good fishing, the people are very nice." Well, they shot 5 of them down there. All of a sudden, decided they got a tiger by the tail. They moved it back to L.A. That's cesspool.
Yeah.
Los Angeles has become a piñata in this interview here.
Yeah, right.
Let me ask you, before we run away from it, you mentioned working with Burt Reynolds. How was that experience? I know he's got his theater, and he's teaching aspiring filmmakers and actors and actresses. I believe his theater's in Jupiter, Florida, and he's actively teaching a new generation. How was writing, producing, and being on screen with Burt Reynolds?
Well, I knew Burt back when he originally did the not a houseboat, but it was a series. I can't remember what it's called. River, was it Riverboat?
Right.
Anyway, I knew Burt back in the old days when he lived just up the hill from me, and I worked with him on Gunsmokes, and when he had a couple of series, I worked with him. We became good friends. And we were good social friends at the time. So later on, then when he had the theater down in Jupiter, I went down there and directed he and Sally Field and Lucy Arnaz. I directed some of those shows and acted in some of these shows down there in his theater. And then, what really disappointed me was that all these shows that I did, I starred. I was with him on Hooper, did the rewrites on Hooper. And
personal favorite of mine.
Yeah,
mine
that
too.
was a good show. I remember that.
Hooper.
Yep.
Well, I wrote that actually with Sally Field's stepfather in mind, Jock Mahoney, who was one of the best stuntmen that ever lived.
Huh. And Jimmy, as a retired stuntman myself, I appreciate that movie more than you know.
God bless you.
I am.
Well, I think you'll appreciate the fact that I said, this day and age when they use a green screen with wires, and these idiot so-called would-be actors called, reality stars. They get on there and they're interviewed. They put their dirty feet up on the desk and say, "I'm a megastar." They can't even spell it, and they say, and then they'll say, "I do all my own stunts." I want to grab them by the neck and shake them loose.
Oh my God. I didn't think I could love James Best anymore.
I
but
know,
now I
right?
do.
He's amazing.
James, you've hit the nail on the head because I see a lot of these new motion pictures nowadays. It's all computerized. I don't understand it.
You don't know what's real and what's not.
And who's actually doing the work? I mean, back in the old era of a real stunt man. I mean,
Let me ask you.
Yeah.
How in the world did that movie, science fiction movie, win first best picture? Gravity.
I saw it.
They could have put a monkey in one of those suits and twirled him around, centrifugal force, and filmed it. And this guy takes the bows for directing. What did he direct?
Jimmy, although in that movie, I think I saw the General Lee jumping in the background, though.
That must have been why. There you go.
Well, let me reset here. We're hanging out live with James Best, known actually as Roscoe from the Dukes of Hazzard here on Wild Jokers Radio. And I've got to ask you, just jumping back to the Dukes real quick, this has been something that, another thing that I've done a lot of reading on, and I have all the DVD sets other than the Coy and Vance years. How was the letdown after there was, I believe there was contractual issues with John Schneider and Tom Wopat at that period of time, and going into the next season with replacements? That had to be really hard on the momentum of the show.
Well, I tell you, God love them. Those poor guys. They took the job. I don't blame them. They're fighting for their lives, trying to be actors.
Mm-hmm.
But the point is, you're following a gorilla, with a bulldog.
Right,
right.
Well put.
And because these boys, we were family with the American people, or the people all over the country,
right,
world, and we were family, and it's very hard to replace your sister or your brother or your grandfather, And so I went in and I talked to the head of it. I quit the show for 5 shows because they were scuffing me so bad.
Wow. I remember that. It was like Sheriff of the Week.
Right.
Yeah, well,
when you were gone.
I said I want a dog on the show, and I want to direct some of the shows.
Right.
And I taught acting for 35 years, so I knew pretty well how to direct a movie. So what disappointed me, they brought these 2 boys in. Well, the head of the department said, "Well, we got these 2 new boys. What do you think will happen?" I said, "It'll collapse."
Yeah.
I said, I don't care how good or bad they are. The point is that you're really trying to replace Tom and John, who created those characters. And to answer the thing about just a second about the character of Roscoe, I went in and I said, I will not play a mean sheriff. And I said, I want to change. I want to make it for comedy with sorrow.
Because I remember in the very first few episodes, matter of fact, the pilot episode, you actually shot somebody.
Yes.
You're right.
Yeah, that's right.
I forgot about that.
I shot him in the leg.
You did. And you were kind of like a tough ass sheriff, and you walked up and said, "Nobody does that in my county." I remember that.
Well, I've killed thousands of people in my career, and been killed thousands of times. And I said, but I said no. And they said, "Well, what do you want to do?" And I said, "Let me see the script, and I'll show you. And I'll show you what I want to do." And I did what I did with my girls when they were about 4 or 5 years old. I go, "You little bugger," and they fell out of their chairs laughing.
Oh God!
And I said, I'm going to play Roscoe like a 12-year-old who likes Hot Pursuit.
Oh, that's awesome.
James, let me throw this one at you because I long for a simpler time. I always have. Whether it be the Dukes of Hazzard, whether it be Hee Haw, whether it be Andy Griffith. Will a modern era, will we ever go back to a simple show like that with values, with tongue-in-cheek type humor, but it's not dirty or racy in those ways? Do you think we'll ever get back there?
I think so. I'll tell you why. It runs a course, and people I do these personal appearances and meet thousands of people, and I have yet to hear one of them say, "I really like what's going on," they go because it's the only thing out there, you know. And Hollywood has forced the envelope so far, you know, the flaps coming off of it. And I think they'll get back to westerns and some. I mean, I'm a little tired of guys killing each other with ray guns. And,
yeah, right.
You know, they'll shoot for 20 minutes with a weapon and nobody gets hit.
Right. Yeah,
you mean the A-Team?
Yeah, it's amazing the submachine gun can fire off 1,000 rounds and nobody gets shot. Yeah.
Absolutely.
That's a real bad shot.
Without reloading.
Right, and with no reload, right.
And then they'll karate for 80 minutes, and nobody gets a bloody nose.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. You know, I don't know how many people know this, but is it true that you actually have a black belt in karate?
Yeah. I fought. I took karate when nobody knew what it was.
I mean, how did you have time for that with the 8,000 movies you've done? I mean, seriously.
Well, you know, I'd go in. I didn't go all at once. It took me 3.5 years to get my belt, because every time I'd go in to be tested, you know, I'd get a movie or something, and so. But it was fun because a lot of times I'd go in on the mat with a white belt against these kids, and they all wanted to kick my butt because I was an actor.
That's funny.
I finally got my black belt, but it was great fun going on the mat with them.
I bet.
But I used to work out in my pool. I'd had my instructor come over, and I'd work out in my pool with water up to my chin, you know, and you build up your speed tremendously by working out that way.
Huh. You know, it's amazing. That's a new trend. I'd
go to producers and I'd say, why don't you use karate for your action? And they said, what is that, a Chinese disease? Of course, later on, they wised up and they started using it. Of course, now they got the guys in karate flying off the ceiling and everything else.
Yeah, right.
Well, besides a black belt, you know, James is also an artist.
Yeah.
Talk about your art a little bit. You have several paintings I've seen on your website and all over the internet. Tell folks how they can see them or pick them up or buy them or whatnot.
Yeah, all I have to do is go to jamesbestart.com, excuse me, and see some of my paintings. And I saw paintings all over the world.
Oh.
Yeah, but very versatile. I mean,
I don't mean to do that, but I enjoy painting, and I do sell a lot of paintings.
I would like to suggest to everybody who listens, too, to also follow Jimmy on Facebook, because he is wonderful at putting out these little video segments, and he always has his paintings in the background. But there's one thing I got to bring up, too, Jimmy. On one of your postings, I noticed in the background is the news clipping of when you played the guitarist on Andy Griffith, which, by the way, was one of my favorite roles. And the day I realized when I was a kid that was Roscoe on the Andy Griffith Show, mm-hmm. I jumped with glee.
You know, I was. It's a funny thing when I get so much fan mail. Most of it is either Dukes of Hazzard or the Andy Griffith Show.
Right.
Because I did all those other shows. But I tell you, the shows that I really enjoyed doing were like Twilight Zones.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where I wanted to follow up with that. I wanted to know what body of work, one piece body of work, whether it be your writing, directing, your art, your motion picture, what is your favorite? Because there's so much.
Well, actually, you mean as far as enjoyment?
Yeah, enjoyment, personal enjoyment. Yes.
Well, actually, working with Jimmy Stewart, I did 5 movies with him.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, he was an icon. He was a total gentleman, very modest. The man was so good that he didn't have to tell anybody that he was a megastar. Everybody knew he was a megastar. I worked 5 movies with him, was personal friends, and I still always called him Mr. Stewart.
Wow.
Hey, James, real quick, you're out about I believe you're in Illinois right now?
I'm sorry?
Are you in Illinois right now? What state are you in?
I'm in right out of St. Louis.
Okay, I was curious because
Greenville, Illinois.
Talk about what you're doing right now, because you're still touring all over the great United States with your show.
Yeah, I go with my one-man show. What they do is people go to their chamber of commerce or whatsoever, and they get something that is not tax-free, but and they raise money for cancer or for children or
right,
like a fundraising kind of situation.
Yeah, nonprofit organizations. And they bring me in. And I do charge a fee, of course. I have to because, flying in there is expensive and everything. But I go in, but I make money for these people, And so not only that, I get to meet a lot of wonderful people. I get to travel around, and I get to go fishing most of the time. Wherever I go, my wife asks if somebody will take me fishing. and I just have a ball. And generally somebody comes in with a General Lee, and parks it in front of the theater.
Right.
And they just really enjoy that. And I get to meet an awful lot of children, and I do a show that is for the family. It's not. I don't do any Vegas material.
Oh, that's great. Well, thank you so much for joining us. A little extra time we stole you away, but we really appreciate the information.
Yeah, this has been an honor.
A trip down memory lane a little bit, but it was an impact, I think, to everybody here in the studio about part of our growing up and a simpler time and a better time.
Well, God love you. Thank you so much. I'm honored that you had me.
Thank you, Jimmy.
And as old Roscoe Coltrane would say, keep your gown down in the pedal to the middle. I'm going a little hot pursuit.
Oh, we love you for it. Thank you, James.
Thank you.
Bye-bye, Jimmy.
Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen.
Oh, that was just...
I'm blown away right now. I got to tell you, it reminds me of like when I was a kid, and I remember like a lot of times it was on during dinner. And I used to convince my parents to let us watch TV while we were eating so I could watch the Dukes.
On Friday nights on CBS.
Yeah.
Yes. On that note, we've got to actually take another break because we're up against it. We're actually going to catch up with Casa Grande Jewelry and Pawn. We're going to evaluate the worth of a General Lee. It's on the way next.
You're listening to The Wild Jokers on 24/7 Comedy for Phoenix, 1260 AM, 96.1 FM.
It's that time of year again where all the creepy critters are coming out. Hey, it's Len from the Wild Jokers, and this past week I've had swarms of bees, scorpions, and a rattlesnake. And you know who I call? I call Brian over at Nuisance Pest Management. That's Nusense, Nuisance Pest Management. If you have swarms of bees, scorpions, ants, termites, snakes, you name it, they take care of it. 480-447-8775. NuisancePest.com. Call Brian, 480-447-8775.
Autobahn Mortgage, 602-980-LOAN. That's 602-980-5626. Call Autobahn Mortgage for all your commercial and residential mortgage needs. We are friendly, fast, and efficient. 602-980-LOAN. You can also see us on the internet, www.autobahnmortgage.com. Call us today, 602-980-LOAN. 602-980-5626.
You're listening to the Double Wide Network, where you can host your own radio show. If you're looking for a way to get out your message, welcome to the future. Dave Pratt's Double Wide Network offers you the opportunity to use our state-of-the-art studio to create your very own radio show. Our experienced and helpful production staff will help you every step of the way. Our free mobile app allows your listeners to take your show with them and play it live or on demand. Even if you're not in Arizona, we've got you covered with Skype technology so you can broadcast from anywhere in the world. Whether you're in it to grow your business, make a statement, deliver a message, or just have fun hosting your own show, the Double Wide Network can make it happen. The Double Wide Network always has your show ready to go. For more information, just visit us at doublewidenetwork.com.
It's Len from the Wild Jokers, and you know my battle cry is all about the small business person. And that's why I endorse Casa Grande Jewelry and Pawn. Some of the finest jewelry you ever want to find. If you need an engagement ring, wedding band, watches, necklaces, firearms, ammunition, power tools, you name it, they got it at Casa Grande Jewelry and Pawn. 1326 North Pinal Avenue in the heart of Casa Grande, or call 520-836-7774. Once again, that's 520-836-7774.
Welcome back. You're listening to The Wild Jokers on 24/7 Comedy for Phoenix, 1260 AM, 96.1 FM.
Welcome back to Wild Jokers Radio here live at the Double Wide Network, 24/7 Comedy Radio for Phoenix. I'm Len. He's Brad. That's Ed, pushing the buttons and steering the ship. And wow, it's that
Shipping
time.
the steering the ship.
I'm on an adrenaline rush right now.
I know. That was crazy. I'm serious. That's bringing back some really good memories.
Well, thanks
from
again.
my
James Best, who's known as Roscoe.
Roscoe.
I think that interview really showed, 88 years old?
Oh,
yeah.
You don't stop. If you stop, you drop.
Right.
And we've had this several times. Wink Martindale,
Yep.
Bob Eubanks.
All
These guys
80s.
are all in their 80s,
All 80s.
and they're still rocking and
my
go,
God.
go.
Yeah, they don't sound like the little crotchety old grandpa you would expect them to.
No, they're out kicking butt and
they're
taking
like
names.
literally like they still just as sharp as they were 25 years ago.
Right.
I mean, he was great.
Well, we got to bring in, because my General Lee's now across the console here. Robin and Ted, Casa Grande Jewelry and Pawn. We love having you on the show, and we've brought kind of a weird selection of different items for you to evaluate and show some worth. I have a little plastic General Lee that I brought into the studio that I had. I think my mom and dad gave that to me maybe when I was 3 or 4 years old. Is that worth anything?
It could be.
It could be. Well, it's gently handled, obviously. It's done many jumps, obviously. It's been in the dirt several times. So, but if it was in pristine shape, what would the value of something like that be?
It could be worth as much as $75.
That's pretty good for a little plastic car.
Yeah.
Wow. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
But as is.
As is. What could we give him, Robin?
1750.
You got a 20 on your
Oh, damn.
Probably not even that.
People, of course. That
I have the people. They're at home. They're
There
resting.
should have been 3.
Yeah.
This actually came with Boss Hogg as well.
Did it come with? I did not know that. We got to get you a little closer to the mic. Just put that down the middle there.
She
You guys
doesn't like in close.
There's
to that
little
thing.
subtle differences that these cars can make. I mean, who made them?
Yeah.
What year they were made.
Right.
How many?
Whether the sticker's on here.
Right.
Yeah, that
And
would
it's-
help too. Yeah.
But the sticker's coming up a little bit.
There's
It's been
just
through a
subtle
war.
differences.
I was
that can
trying
make
not
them
to
very
point that
valuable.
out. You know.
Yeah.
Now,
But this thing, literally in this condition, it still could pull $50-$60.
That's
really?
amazing.
That's cool. Yeah, no, I have it
amazing.
actually right next to my television. I keep it inside my man cave. It's perfect. I love it
And
to
you have
death.
this sitting on the shelf in a showcase in the store, and you get a Dukes of Hazzard
Fan,
in
yeah.
there, and they're reaching for their wallet
It's
before
gone,
you give them
yeah.
the
I'll think
price.
with like a lunchbox. The lunchbox, I think, would be something because you don't see them much anymore.
Yeah.
And, man, back in the day, think about those lunch pails. You could use them as a weapon.
I had Star Wars. I had Starsky and Hutch. I had the Dukes of Hazzard.
I had the
one.
Dukes. I
But
kept that
I
longest.
told you earlier about that Revenge of the Jedi lunchbox.
Right.
That's got to be worth some money now because the merchandise, anything that came out with Revenge of the Jedi, then they pulled everything back in and named it Return of the Jedi.
That's
Yeah,
right.
it's rare.
Yeah.
So what would something like that be worth nowadays?
That could easily be worth that same number, anywhere from about $60 to $120, depending on how nice it is.
For a lunchbox.
And that's really cool.
Right.
I mean,
Crazy.
it's
Right.
amazing what
A
the
lunchbox, it was like $3.95 in 1979.
Right.
But it's a nostalgia buy. It's a
We had a
nostalgia buy.
Revell model come in of a firearm that had never been opened from the 1960s.
Wow.
Okay.
We had no idea. We posted it on eBay, and
Yeah.
the numbers soared out of control. It closed in the 300s.
Get out of
A
here.
model of a gun. from Revell
Wow.
From the 60s.
That's
What
really
does that
cool.
tell you?
Well, we have 2 more other
Yeah.
items. The lovely Michelle has graced us with her presence, my fiance here in the studio. She has a camera. And tell us about this camera. You guys, I shot you a picture over it yesterday so you can kind of do a little research on it. What's the background on it? I have no clue. I just saw it from a distance.
A Japanese company started in the 1950s. About 8 people got together with a budget of about $500 and started this company.
Okay.
This particular camera is from the 1955 or so.
And does it have any value?
It does.
It looks like an old
It does.
Leica, but I know it's not a Leica. What is it?
It can pull as much as $300 to $500, depending on who's looking at it.
Right. You get the right guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and then of course the gold coin there, and we had gold. We had teeth on last week, so we're doing a lot of gold flavor. But gold is very popular right now. You see it always on TV. Buy gold, buy gold.
We all have specialties in the pawn shop, and Robin has just embraced this coin thing.
Mm-hmm.
She's been doing it for about a year. She's excited about it. She has a boyfriend who loves the coin stuff. She's learning from him.
Okay.
So as soon as she saw this, she's all over it. Doing
Ah,
the research,
okay.
checking the
nice.
mid marks.
Yeah, this is as much
She's
as the
smiling.
gun
When Robin
side.
smiles, that's always a good thing.
Well, now, what is something like that? I mean, that's a historical coin. What is the background on it? Because I have no clue on the background on it. Besides, it's gold.
That it is.
Right.
And the fact that you have the letter too, that's kind of anything that you get that has documentation and stuff that says, authenticates things, that's always a good thing. Now, this was a retail value of $515 in 1983.
Wow.
Okay, and this is just going to kind of show you where this goes. This coin is actually 117 years old.
Wow.
Now, although this coin there was over 1 million of these coins minted and produced.
Okay.
There's very few of these coins known in existence today.
Wow.
That have a grading on them that's above a 65. So in order to have a coin that was graded like that, you had to basically put it away back in the day. And obviously a $20 coin from 1890s was not going to get put away. It was going to get used.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it's like a $1,000
So yours
bill.
actually has a really good grading on it. Today you're looking at about $1,200 just in the gold value of it.
Ooh, winner, chicken
That's
dinner.
just
Look at
gold
that.
value.
That's just the golds. That doesn't take any of the other value
None
into
of the
consideration.
numismatic values calculated.
Right.
That's really cool.
One has sold at auction in 2007 for $19,000.
Holy
now
crap.
it was PGS mint marked or graded and everything, and so I mean it's worth getting it graded and then.
Can I just take a
Our
look?
$1 million just walked in the door.
What's the matter? You guys don't trust
I
me?
don't know, Ed. You look a little shady behind that thing over there.
I'm waiting for Ed's spidey web to come out and
Yeah,
grab this
right.
thing.
It's just so funny. I mean, the lovely Michelle
That's
brings
cool.
in a vintage camera, a historic coin, and I bring in a plastic General Lee. I can see where we are in the household. It is just so funny.
This is a really cool coin. I like this.
And,
Thank you.
And you, too, can actually have things appraised, pawn, or sell at Casa Grande Jewelry and Pawn. Let's get some of your vital stats. You're on Facebook. You're on the web. You got your phone numbers and everything.
Yep, we're doing firearms at CasaGrandeGuns.com.
You have a lot of pink guns.
We
Purple,
do. You know,
too.
it's because Robin is also our lead gun lady there.
Okay.
She loves pink guns. She conveys that excitement to her female
She likes
customers.
holding the guns.
Yeah.
And a guy yesterday, a very buff-looking guy yesterday buying a pink gun, trying to justify it to us.
Well, he should have said it was salmon. It's sort of like a tie.
Right. It's
You know,
salmon.
It's
It's
salmon.
not
This
pink.
is a salmon
It's
gun.
salmon.
It's not pink.
Only John Wayne could wear pink.
I just wear flannel, so
Yeah.
no pink
Right.
there.
But if you're big and bad enough, you can wear pink.
I'm
Yeah.
sure
you
you
can have
can.
a pink gun. Who's going to argue with you?
Yeah, exactly. It's gone. All right, so visit our friends Casa Grande Jewelry and Pawn. We're going to do a kind of a rapid fire. We went along with Mr. James Best, Roscoe, of course. So we
Right.
got to get everybody on the show. But phone number real quick before we cut you loose.
520-836-7774.
One more time.
520-836-7774.
I love putting you on the spot.
She was wondering if she was going to get it right the second time.
I know, right? She had to think it through. She's like, you know, people dial the phone when they're trying to remember a phone number. I always love when people do that. They do the air dial, kind of
Right.
like air guitar.
You have to visualize the
Or I
visual
look
there.
up. I'm like,
Yeah.
make a funny face. That's what I do.
You look like you're taking a crap when you do that.
How do you know that?
I don't know.
I
I'm just saying.
barricade. I
I'm
usually have 3 or 4
I
no's.
know
How
you
do
got the
this?
barricade, but I'm assuming that's what, you know, the
That
way
was
you kind of
last
like
show.
crinkled your eyes and everything. Whatever, okay.
All right. Well, why don't we segue to Brad's Beat on the Street, or do you want to bring, or let's do the Beat on the Street?
go ahead.
All right.
Yeah.
Are you ready for me?
Of course.
Because we don't want to cut him short again.
Well, we don't want to cut him short. but
Yeah, right.
You got to
Thanks,
start beating
guys.
it.
Yeah.
So get on with it.
Cutting it short, beating it. Listen to you guys.
Well, yeah.
What are you trying to say?
Well, you know you're good at it.
Oh, show's over. Gotta go. No, I'm kidding.
Sweet. Well, you know, it's interesting because this week I actually have 2 local stories. Well, semi-local. One's in Prescott, and the other one's
Hey, my old hometown.
Right, and I noticed I said Prescott, and the other one's in Tucson. So let's start with
We have an Arizona flavor. Usually, you're so international.
I know. Well, when I saw these 2, I had to go there because we very rarely have Arizona ones.
Yeah.
So okay, so check
So you're
this
making
out.
the state look bad now. Great.
Yeah, it's all good. You know, it's all good. We have our
Well,
interesting stuff.
hey, real quick, you mentioned Prescott. We're going to be at the world's oldest rodeo, 4th of July weekend. It would be June 27th is actually the show. We're going to be showcasing comedy in the rodeo clown. We're going to have a featured guest, actually, the rodeo clowns of the world's oldest rodeo.
Fair enough.
Isn't that cool?
Okay.
All right, beat the street.
Back to Prescott. So a guy was arrested on suspicion of unlawfully discharging a firearm. Now, you hear about people shooting guns in Arizona all the time.
I heard about this story.
Wait a second. This knucklehead was shooting at the moon.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
They tried to take the moon out.
Yeah, you get bored sometimes. That was actually in Prescott Valley. And Prescott Valley PD apprehended that guy. I got some phone calls about that one.
You heard what he was quoted saying,
Well, what he
right?
said was he thought he saw Halley's Comet.
Yeah.
So he's firing away.
So he's
at
firing
it.
away at it. Yeah.
You think it was a normal handgun, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was
you
a
ain't gonna
handgun.
get that distance.
Yeah, nobody got hurt or anything like that. But yeah, he's in big trouble.
And then he turned to the camera and said, "And witness the power of this fully armed and operational battle station."
Yeah, that's Prescott Valley for you right there. I'm not going to rag on Prescott, but Prescott Valley out there in the sticks gets a little weird sometimes.
Well, here's a weird one for you. Ready for this?
Is this Tucson?
Tucson, Sabino High School. Okay. So these kids, you get your yearbooks every year, and you get them normally like the week before school's out, and everyone signs your yearbook and all that stuff.
I never got a yearbook. Were you a yearbook guy?
I mean, I got them. I wasn't like into it, but whatever. I had them.
Stacy, my back waxer, is joining us here live on the Double Wide
my
Network.
back waxer too.
I know. We all
got
lean,
butchered
mean,
this
clean.
week.
Thank you.
Did you see my new hashtag? It said "Back and Balls Boys."
Okay.
Thank you.
Nice.
I appreciate that.
She gave me. She gave me.
She gave it to you.
She gave me some fresh balls.
Nice.
Yeah. I knew about
You
that.
are a part of the Fresh Balls Club now.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
So you had to be initiated.
I swear by him, actually. I mean,
I do
the fiance will actually vouch for it.
My 13-year-old son used it and said it was unbelievable.
Okay.
So
that's really nice.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah. Well, we were on Knott's Berry Farm in L.A., and he's like, "Dad, I'm feeling a little raw down there," and I'm like, I've got just the thing. And
Pull
I
it
happen
out of
to
your
bring
back pocket.
I happen to bring the fresh balls, figuring we'd be doing a lot of walking, and one of the two of us was going to need it for sure.
I can see you walking around like Knott's Berry Farm with like
no
a Schneider
fanny pack.
tool belt.
No.
And you got
Come here, kitties.
Yeah, right. Schneider tool belt.
Good
Right.
job. Fanny pack.
Right.
He's got a
no
fanny pack.
pack.
Excuse
No
me,
fanny
sir.
packs.
You have to leave.
Yeah, right. We don't allow those in here.
But he wears it behind,
yeah,
not
okay.
in the front.
Right. Uh-huh.
You're diverting.
Anyway,
Tucson.
back to Tucson. So, these kids get their yearbook. You normally get it the week before school's out. Well, evidently this year, the senior class didn't receive their yearbook until 2 weeks after school's out because the school edited the quotes. Now, they didn't just edit them. They literally took black tape and covered over every single bad quote in the yearbook. Yeah, so the question is, why didn't they just edit it before they printed the stupid thing?
Yeah.
And it's funny, I can tell you a couple of them. One of the quotes was, "Every Mexican needs a white best friend." That was one of them. It said, and one of them was, "I'm drunk on you and high on summertime." I mean, come on, really? I mean, whatever.
This is why I was a loner.
Yeah, so anyway, literally black electrical tape throughout their yearbooks to cover them all up. They sent to all 400 and whatever students that way.
That's classy.
Not only were the students stupid, but so's the editor.
Keep it classy, Tucson. Good job.
If they have such a problem with it, though, they should just not put quotes
Well,
in.
wait a minute.
In
It was
general. If you're gonna
1,300
censor it
yearbooks.
like that,
1,300. Can you imagine sticking 1,300? All right, I got one last quickie, and then we'll get out of here. Okay. All right, you ready for this? In Seattle, 28-year-old woman wakes up to a cancer charity run running by her building.
Yeah.
She throws a bag of garbage out on the crowd.
Nice.
Yeah.
Get out of my yard!
Literally, like
Really?
used cat litter, frozen
Dang
chicken.
kids.
Yeah. She started pelting them with like pieces of frozen chicken.
That's really rude.
Yeah. Anyway,
awesome.
Yeah, she's in trouble.
I'd love to see that.
But
I'd be cheering her on.
All right, well, we only got like a minute left, right, Ed? Or we're up against the clock here?
Yeah, about a minute and a half.
About a minute and a half. Real quick, I got to toss Brian here because we got the Nuisance Pest Management Open coming up. Quick plug on that real quick before we have to go bye-bye.
Inaugural Nuisance Pest Management Charity Golf Tournament benefiting C for Vets. It's going to be at Gold Canyon Golf Resort, January 24th, 2015.
Which, by the way,
All right.
Brian is my new pest control person.
And he's at my house and dusted and sprayed it too.
He was at my house yesterday and took care of things.
Exactly.
wait,
Speaking of taking care of things, if you want fresh balls,
Yeah,
where
Spa
can
Week
where can
coming
we get
up.
fresh
Spa
balls
Week.
at?
Talk about
Spa
it.
Week, quickly.
Bang it out.
Quick, Spa Week. We have 50 Shades of Get a Life Gray Men's Spa Week, which kicks off today, goes until next Friday. And to get more information on that, you can go to my website, simplicitysimpleskin.com, or call me at 480-686-8538.
And if you need 50 Shades of Hay, call me at 602-303-5869. Alfalfa, $13.50. Bermuda, $11 a bale. Thank you. 602-303-5869.
You can take time and wrap it up now.
Okay.
Right.
Well, hey, gentlemen, thank you so much. This has been a great show. Thank you,
Yep.
James Best, who's Roscoe from the Dukes of Hazzard.
Wow.
I mean, it's a really nice of him to take so long. Such a long interview out of his day. I said, 12 minutes, and we made it into a half
I think
an
we
hour.
need to use that little cut from him doing his little Roscoe impersonation. We got to use that somehow.
Oh, it's
going to
be somewhere. It's going to be somewhere. But just he was truly the comedy in the Dukes of Hazzard. But we have to thank so many people. Of course, Stacy, thank you for coming down. Brian, of course. The golf tournament's going to be a smashing success. Cass Grand Jewelry and Pawn, Robin, Ted, the All-Star cast. Ed, thank you for pushing our buttons.
You're welcome.
Brad, thank you for beating it.
You love it.
I appreciate it. I'm impressed. Not really. All right. for the rest of the crew here, live at the Double Wide Studios, thank you for listening. We'll be back next Friday and Saturday on the Double Wide Network and 24/7 Comedy Radio. Have a great week.
You're listening to the Wild Jokers on 24/7 Comedy for Phoenix, 1260 AM, 96.1 FM. Thank you for listening to Wild Jokers on Funny 1260, 96.1 and the Double Wide Network. We really appreciate you listening to our show. Just to recap, coming up this Saturday at Vito's Restaurant in Mesa, starting at 7:30. We recommend you get there a little bit early, and please call ahead for reservations because limited seating is available. You can reserve your tickets right by calling Vito's at 480-832-3311. Once again, make sure you call Vito's Restaurant for this Saturday coming up, 480-832-3311. We'd also like to thank Stacy from SimplicitySimpleSkincare.com, also known as the Man Spa. And you can check her out right online at www.simplicityssimplesskincare.com. She's located right in Old Town Scottsdale, right near 75th Street and Stetson. So check her out. We'd also want to make sure we give some thanks to New Sense Pest Management. Those guys are www.newsense.pest.com. Or you can reach them at 480-447-8775. They handle small businesses, residential, commercial, and it is owner-operated. Of course, we really like Brian, as you've heard him on the show many times. Once again, we also have some other events coming up here in the near future. Make sure you check out our webpage at www.thewildjokers.com. You can also see us on Facebook at www.facebook.com/wildjokersradio and Twitter at wildjokersradio. Also, Instagram, Wild Jokers Radio there as well. So make sure you check out all the different avenues to see what's going on, check out events. And I can't forget to thank the people from Ted and Robin from Casa Grande Jewelry and Pawn. We love you guys. Thank you so much for showing up. And of course, James Best. What a great, great guest. Amazing 89-year-old man. Still got it going on. Just as sharp as the day he did Dukes of Hazzard. We really appreciate your time, Mr. Best. And thank you again for being on our show. Hope you have a great weekend. Once again, thank you for listening to the Wild Jokers. Autobahn Mortgage, 602-980-LOAN. That's 602-980-5626. Call Autobahn Mortgage for all your commercial and residential mortgage needs. We are friendly, fast, and efficient. 602-980-LOAN. You can also see us on the internet, www.autobahnmortgage.com. Call us today, 602-980-LOAN, 602-980-5626.
It's Len from the Wild Jokers, and you know my battle cry is all about the small business person. And that's why I endorse Casa Grande Jewelry and Pawn. Some of the finest jewelry you ever want to find. If you need an engagement ring, wedding band, watches, necklaces, firearms, ammunition, power tools, you name it, they got it at Casa Grande Jewelry and Pawn. 1326 North Pinal Avenue in the heart of Casa Grande, or call 520-836-7774. Once again, that's 520-836-7774. It's that time of year again where all the creepy critters are coming out. Hey, it's Len from the Wild Jokers, and this past week I've had swarms of bees, scorpions, and a rattlesnake. And you know who I call? I call Brian over at Nuisance Pest Management. That's Nusense, Nuisance Pest Management. If you have swarms of bees, scorpions, ants, termites, snakes, you name it, they take care of it. 480-447-8775. NuisancePest.com. Call Brian, 480-447-8775.